heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome back to the channel, and an even larger welcome back to this large guy over here. Ash is on the channel. How are you doing, my man?
Yo, Fasti, what's up, man? I'm doing well, man. How are you? Just kind of enjoying the summer here. Trying to.
Absolutely. Yeah, trying to. I wish I was getting outside more. Maybe you feel the same way.
Yeah, I don't know. I got my kiddo like this really rudimentary, we'll say, like blow up pool, and we've been spending a ton of time outside.
That's
it's
beautiful.
Funny how those days when you were a kid growing up, how the smallest things can just be, can be everything. But yeah, been enjoying the summer so far, man.
Let's take it in a different direction. Guys, you may be noticing Watcher Realms is behind us, and if you're someone that loves Ash like I do, you may know that you have not had Watcher Realms behind you in a video for a minute now. So I thought maybe we could have a quick chat about that, because you have quit the game, correct?
Yes, I would say I've quit the game. Yeah. I've been thinking about like making a video about it, but it's just like, I don't know. There's something weird about like I've quit videos, It's just like, I don't know. But at the same time, I probably should address it. So I figured it'd be cool to come on your channel instead. Because it started with collabing with you for me.
It's true. And on top of that, we just had our second anniversary. It's actually still ongoing. We've got about 2 weeks left. And when we had the first anniversary, me and a content creator named you did this video over here. Will Watcher of Realms, will War make it a second year? And it was like an honest conversation about this. And a lot's gone on in Watcher of Realms. I know you've only been gone for a minute now, but actually in the past little while. So I thought maybe I could take you through what's happened. Then we could kind of contextualize it, get your thoughts. Because yes, you played Watcher Realms. You were very good at the game. But on top of that, more broadly,
I don't know about that, bro, but sure, I appreciate it.
Fair enough. More broadly, you know a lot about the industry, you've seen a lot of games come and fail, a lot of games come and succeed, a lot of games briefly succeed and fail, this, that, and the other, right? So I figure maybe you could share that expertise with us, right? As someone that's been in the space for over a decade, right?
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Along for the ride, dude. Let's do it.
Okay, so if we scroll down over here, give me 1 second to actually find the video. I did this video, which did definitely got some attention. Can the second anniversary save Watcher Realms? Is War dying? I made my little gravestone thumbnail. Some people really got what I was getting at, and some people were like, you're clickbaiting, War will never die. Then I did Many of You Are Wrong to show the actual trend analytics. I'm not making this up. Everyone, maybe you've had this before when you've covered like the state of a game. They're like, your views are down, so you think the game's dying. And I was like, first off, they're not down, but also I can read macro trends, right, for the space. Have you ever been in that position?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it speaks to an overall kind of a challenge as a creator where you, first of all, we kind of live and breathe these games a lot, but also we are kind of a conduit, or at least a liaison to some extent, with the community and the developer, right? So at least with me, I'll just speak for myself. I kind of struggle sometimes. I've always struggled, even going back to other games that I've covered, a decade ago. I've always kind of struggled to find that sweet spot of, listen, I'm reading these people who are upset about all these pain points in the game, from quality of life to I'm quitting the game. And you read those comments on a daily basis, and you start to feel like, oh, I need to advocate. I need to say, I can't just keep pretending like people aren't feeling. So you get put in this position where it's just weird, because you want to give feedback when something's wrong in the game, or when people are upset, your viewers are upset, the community's upset. But at the same time, truthfully, like, there's that fine line, at least for me, where if you're negative all the time, you also have to deal and kind of reconcile with the fact that people are tuning in to watch you because they like this game, because they play this game. And a huge portion of your audience also doesn't want to hear somebody crapping on the game that they tune into you to enjoy on a daily basis. So it's such a weird, interesting, that only creators really think about, or frankly probably care about that much. But it is an interesting thing, and you see this bleed over to all aspects of life. Anytime anybody has a podcast, politics, or anything, it's so easy to think that you're advocating, and then you start pandering. Not to say that you were doing any of that, but like, I found myself in those positions. So I don't know if I answered your question. I probably didn't, but it's weird, because I've done that with Raid, recently too, of like, ooh, state of raid is there's something bad going on in raid. And then you always ask yourself afterwards, like, dude, should I even, like, who am I anymore? Like, you just get so much input. And you just try your best to do the best for a game that you're obviously passionate about,
I think you hit on a ton of good things there. And I think there's so much truth to that, especially, not that me and you are the greatest creators of all time, but we both have games where we're larger creators within that space. So when you're like more mainstream, you're getting a lot of different kind of views, right? A larger percentage are watching you compared to maybe some other creators. So I think that's really true. So yes, I had been seeing a lot of sentiment of like, I think I'm quitting. I did quit this and this. The game sucks. This update sucks, blah, 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 blah. But then, because we're hyper in tune with loving the game and also being deeply connected to the success and the future of the game, that like we're like, oh wait, is this something that I need to cover, and like, is this real? And then you investigate and you find I did find some real trends and stuff, but I do believe that you did touch on something really important, that like, no, but I probably was ignorant that like that is not necessarily, even if it was a majority opinion, it might not be a majority opinion. And even if it's a majority opinion, there still can be a very large minority that disagrees, which I heard a lot from.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. I always go, I really every day I feel a little bit differently about like, okay, what is the proper thing to do? And I think the answer probably is different for every creator. It depends on it depends on where you are and what kind of content you want to make. And it's weird because there's always that kind of juxtaposition of like, you're either a shill for the company or you're a man of the people, and there's nowhere in between, and I really don't think either are rarely true, so it's interesting. It's just it's an interesting little, I don't know, behind the scenes thing that you kind of juggle with as a
for sure. We might be getting slightly inside baseball. The last thing I will say is I bet this has happened to you potentially too. I've had back-to-back videos before where I get one video with hard accusations of being a shill and the other one saying I'm like trying to destroy the game and I hate the developer, like within the space of 12 hours. And that is pretty funny.
No, definitely. I mean, not to say that I don't care about viewer feedback and stuff like that, or sometimes take those things to heart, of course, but also I guess just kind of with a grain of salt. It's just like, there is an inevitability about anything, anytime, no matter what, even if you're not a content creator, anytime you put anything out on the internet, you're going to get people who hate and disagree with you no matter what, So there's just a certain sense of reconciliation that I have with that. And it's just like, all right, it's cool, like, or whatever, but at the same time, you try to take especially the real constructive criticism and the people who actually take the time to, I guess, articulately share why they disagree or whatever. Like that's certainly valuable, but there's a lot of noise too that you really have to filter out,
Well put. Yeah. I think the direction to take this now would be, we don't have to spend forever on it, but just speak to, because you have kind of formally quit the game now, maybe like what you were still enjoying, but also maybe what you weren't, or what maybe if it wasn't something you were enjoying, but what were the reasons that led you away from the game to where we're going to have you on now for the final half of the video to kind of show you some trend analytics and get your opinions on if you think, yes, it survived a second year, but will it make it a third year? And is it on the right path? And so on and so on.
Yeah, Watcher of Realms certainly has something going for it. There's something around like the whole Watcher zeitgeist and the game itself that is... There's been a million raid competitors, and I don't say that, like, I know there's a lot of differences, but like in this genre, and Watcher of Realms does seem to have that stickiness and that staying power that I, not to ruin the end, but I suspect that it's going to be around for a third year and beyond. That being said, though, for me personally, I actually really enjoyed Watcher of Realms. I still enjoy, I guess, Watcher of Realms, even though I haven't logged in a while, but like the game itself is great. I found that the game is a bit more time consuming, at least my experience with the game, than, a game like Raid. It could also be, it's very anecdotal because I could be like more firmly in the end game of Raid and everything's on auto and set up better, so, but my personal experience was, there's a lot more that goes into the battle system and just progression in Watcher of Realms, especially given the platforming element of it in like that whole side, the actual battle side, versus watching the same 5 champions do a move on a wave, where there's no timing is not essential or important in Raid as it is in Watcher. So anyway, TLDR is, I got to a point with my content where I actually reached out to you about this to talk about it, a while ago, maybe close to a year, maybe 6 months or something ago. And I was like, dude, I'm like, I'm not happy because I was a real casual player of Watcher of Realms always, and that can get you by as a creator for a while, where you're like, okay, I'll list out, tier lists and stuff like that. But then when you get into, okay, I've been making content for a year on this game now, I need to be a more dedicated player and really student of the game like I am in Raid and other games where I play all the time. In Watcher, I felt like I was beginning to think I was doing a disservice to my brand or people who know me from other games by putting out very, very mediocre content. Anyway, I reached out to you and I was like, dude, do you know anybody who could help me out? Like, help me build teams in Watcher of Realms, and then I can go in and understand how they work and like really alleviate some of that pressure to just make higher quality content. And you hooked me up with somebody. I don't want to name them just because I don't know if they want to be named or not, but they were amazing. And this is the problem. It's the first time I've ever used like a driver, not to say they were a driver, but like a helper on an account. No one's ever logged in my account in Raid, ever. Neither have they in the Supercell games that I've covered. So I was like, but I was super open to the idea because I really wanted to improve my quality. But something weird happened psychologically where once I had a freaking maven running my account, I almost didn't want to log in. I don't want to interrupt what he's doing over here. Like, he's farming. I don't want to like mess up. I don't want to touch the teams. He's got all my teams. So something happened where I started to not play at all, and then I was like, well, Mike, and you should see my account, man. Like, if you were to see my account right now, I can barely recognize it. Like, it's super, super end game. Everything's amazing. Everything's cleared in really good times. And he did an amazing job. He took what I had, which was a ton of heroes, fully awakened, and he optimized it, and he farmed endlessly to get better gear and everything. So anyway, TLDR, my long-winded answer, bro, is I stopped logging in, and then I got intimidated by my own account, and I'm like, I can't do this. What am I going to do? Fake that I did all this stuff? Like, I don't even understand it. So that's why I stopped playing. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm trying to force something that I just don't have time for right now, and that is making like compelling daily or weekly content on a game that I'm barely playing. So I was just like, I gotta tap out. As much as I really do think that the game is really solid.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting, really unique spot you're in, and I can relate to it in like a very specific way because like in Raid, I don't like doing Hydra. So my friend helps me with Hydra nearly every week. I'll do it once or twice a month, and he'll do it the other 2 weeks. And yeah, like I can't imagine anytime soon putting out Hydra content because you get that space between you and the content, and I feel uncomfortable because it's like I'm not good at it, like because we take time away from it. Back in the day, I knew how to do it, but now it's just I don't like it. I was lucky enough to find a way to not do it. A little bit of a tangent there, but I hear what you're saying, right? Because something with Watcher of Realms, and actually we were just talking about my friend Ronaldo right before we started filming. He was a very high end, like expert player or very like in the know player, but then took whatever it was 4 or 5 months away from the game. He's coming back now. He knows enough to get back into it, but he was telling me it's taking him a ton of time already. I was watching some of his videos as well to kind of get reacquainted and learn all the new things. Because when you're in it every day, you're like, nothing's changing. Ingrid, it's the same thing over and over. But when you're away for a bit, you're like, oh, like there's 28 new things. And even if you're playing casually, if you're not intimately familiar, you're like, oh, I haven't even done that, like this and that. Even me, like there's a harder version of the campaign. I haven't even tried it yet because it's not new enough for me to care, if that makes sense, but still I'm not acquainted with that,
Dude, it's this thing, I don't know if you're the same way or if everybody's the same way, but like I used to play Magic the Gathering, right? And I used to love Magic the Gathering. I used to walk over to my Friday Night Magic every week, and it was just like a huge part of my life and my little social group at the time. But then I took like 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 years off, and I'm like, too much has changed. I can't go back, or I really struggle. So something psychologically with me is time away from something, even if I loved it, I get so easily intimidated to go back about like all the stuff I've missed, or I'm not. So like exactly what you're talking about with Ronaldo, like that plagues me and everything in life. So suffice it to say, I had some of that with Watcher too, because I took time off because I wasn't logging in at all. Then new stuff would be added. I had no clue, and it just ended up being like, wow, this guy's so good, but this was the wrong strategy for me in terms of like how to be more engaged. Lesson learned, just play more or walk,
I mean, that's a really interesting point. And like, yeah, I do bring up Ronaldo because I think he's someone who's succeeding heavily at that right now, but you can see the amount of work it takes because you have to really like relearn or get freshly acquainted with a bunch of new stuff or changed stuff. He like couldn't believe in one video I saw how much gear has changed. And to me, I know it's changed, but it doesn't feel like as much. But when you see someone who's been away for half a year or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, this is like, that's a whole new way to approach that part of the game. And yeah, in general, I think just, time away. I think sometimes we feel so attached to these games because it's your routine, but just a little bit of time away, you're like, oh, maybe it's less than I realized. I remember, like, I think I'm in a unique spot as someone that never quit Raid. I just stopped playing Raid because I was busy one week and I'd been playing a little less. And then that week became 2+ years, There's no moment of deleting the app or throwing my hands in the air. It was just like, oh, I haven't logged on in a month. Oh, I haven't logged on in 6 months. Okay, now I'll delete the app. I guess I'm not playing anymore,
100%. And that's how I was before content. That's how I was with a lot of games too. Just like, all right, I'm just going to delete it. But now it's a little different when you're just like, okay, I don't know. It's interesting, but but I totally understand where you're coming from.
Well, it's tough to see you go, but I totally get it.
I'm still around, man. We're still cross paths, I should say that I'm totally like I still really do love the game, and if I could ever allocate or free up time in the future, like I would. I mean, the channel's still there and stuff, so it's not like. That's why I don't like the grandiose, like I've quit the game, because you know how those videos go. No disrespect to anybody, I have nobody in mind, but like I feel like every other day a creator's like I quit, and then 6 months or a year later they're like I'm back. So I don't know. Who knows? I just like right now I just don't have the time for it. Basically,
I do want to show you some of these trend analytics because they are actually encouraging, which is a pretty cool development. But I have to ask you one thing. I know we don't have too much time here, but you said you feel like Watcher took more time than Raid, and that is like mind-boggling to me because Raid takes up every second of my day, and I can't believe it.
I guess it's just perspective. Then I guess maybe my inclination was right about like maybe it's because I just considered myself. I mean, Raid I've been playing for 6 years every day, all day, similar to you for, 3 years or whatever it is for Watcher. It's just like maybe you just take for granted, sometimes.
Yeah, I think maybe that's it because I'm so endgame in Watcher. Like I do have it all automated. I'm sure you're the same in Raid. Like in Raid, just clicking the buttons, just if that's all I did, I've thought about timing myself. It must be at least 2 hours. Anyway,
okay, fair enough.
Let me show you this stuff over here. So I want to zoom out to a year. I think that's a cool way to look at it. So when I made this video and then this video, you can actually see I use the graph. You can see the line just going down, right? Also people got upset that I did the US. I guess
I'm sorry, where were you?
This is the search of Watcher of Realms over the past year now.
Where did you make the video though on that? I can't see the dates. Like where was it before the update? Before the third anniversary?
2 weeks ago, but it was about 3 weeks ago on both of them. About exactly 3 weeks ago. It was right before the second anniversary was coming, and it has now arrived. It's been in swing for just over a week. So I was like, basically,
on a scale from 1 to 10.
People took issue with the word dying. I didn't say like it's gonna die. I just meant like it's not necessarily terminal, but it's sick. Like it's going down. But people got annoyed with that verbiage. But the point was the game's on a downward slope. And if you continue on a slope like that as a gacha game, it doesn't take long before you're poofing, right? Or they just pull away a ton and the service is lightened, blah, blah, blah. And I showed that, and then people were like, you're full of it. You're going for clicks. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Look, it's going down. But I will say the whole tone of both the videos, for anyone that watched the whole thing, they are a little long, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, it can be saved. Like if the second anniversary is a success, it can do big things. And that's kind of what I wanted to show you. You can see this was around the point of when I was filming the videos here, and it has gone up, right? To be fair, not to like Christmas. Well, this is actually Christmas, New Year's, and this was when the game got canceled by ByteDance briefly with the TikTok thing. But it is up, right? So it's at 75% the interest in terms of like Google search activity in the States compared to, when it was about as crazy as it could be because we thought the game was actually going to die because of the TikTok stuff. Because people got annoyed by just American stuff, let's just go to Germany and show a similar thing. It's the same idea. It actually was even more precipitous, I would say, the loss in interest up until like the past 2-3 weeks. So when you see something like this, I actually know you've done similar videos on your channel in the past that I've seen on some of your other channels. Is this promising to you? Is this status quo to you? What does this make you feel? Oh, here's worldwide. I can show you worldwide. So yeah, you can see going down, down.
Nice
and then,
little bump there on the anniversary. I just happy to answer, but like on the update itself on the second anniversary, what do you give it on a 1 to 10? Like what do you grade everything in its totality?
Compared to like, I'll grade it on 2 curves. All right, so I'll get you a little spicy with you. The first rubric is gonna be compared to like what I know they were capable of and things they've done in the past. I'd give them an 8.3 out of 10.
Okay.
Compared to Raid Shadow Legends and other games, I'd give them a 37 out of 10.
Okay. It was going to be very interesting where you went there with the second thing. That's cool, man. That's cool, especially because I feel like you definitely look at things with a critical eye at times too. So it's good to know that that's a high score for Fasti on the Fasti curve. So that's good. That's good. And you can see that reflected in the data. I mean, listen, Google Trends, I use it too as an indicator. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's a tool to see the search volume of a game, right? But it is a bit anecdotal too. Like it doesn't tell the full story. Obviously, there's a few factors, right, in terms of the game's health. Like the biggest factor, frankly, just being marketing spent, during a specific time. Not talking about like creator marketing necessarily, but just talking about like UA in general, user acquisition, and how much money they're spending on Facebook and Google ads and App Store ads and whatever has like such a massive correlation to these spikes that we see in this data. So ultimately, like if you have like a Sensor Tower subscription or something like that, you can see the raw data of daily active users and average spend and, all the metrics they actually care about in the regions that they're going after. So that all being said, always a bit anecdotal, but it's also like there's a certain amount of truth, I think, into the trends that you see, right, for games, right? Seldom do you go look at a game that's 10, 20 years old and look at these graphs and have it not tell the story in like a zoomed out macro view of the popularity of a game over time, Yeah. So long story short is I do think that, man, seeing a dip down during the summer is common on almost every game. Unless it's like a launch or something obviously like that, right? But like generally, we see that, and then spend in marketing tends to go way up going into Q4 especially, right, to end off the year. So generally we see that kind of go up again towards the end of the year. So listen, I think that, yeah, sure, you're gonna have people drop off, right, of any game, especially with my whole thing with Watcher is the whole ByteDance stuff, right? Like that was a huge hit, and the fact that they've been able to navigate through that storm, I think that hopefully the rocky waters are behind, at least in terms of like the macro stability of the game in the company itself, or I guess 2 companies at this point. I don't know. I don't understand exactly how it works, but
no one does.
Yeah. I just know that they have a separate publisher in NA, I guess, but still developed by Moonton.
Well, strictly US, not even just NA, just US.
Got you, strictly US, yeah. But anyway, like long story short is I think that. Considering the update, you gave it a high score, and I've heard generally like positive sentiment around it. We still work with Moonton on the marketing side, like occasionally, nothing like massive, but it seems like the reception that I heard as well was really positive, overall. So it looks like there's an influx of new players. So generally a lot of hype around the game. So it looks like things are on an upward trend. Is it safe to say? Do you concur?
Yeah, what I would say is, so I just wanted to show a little zoom out thing I prepared here. So I decided to go December 1st to July 1st, so right before the anniversary stuff. And you can see there was a new status quo of what I'd call like lower, right? The peaks are a little bit lower, but a cool thing to zoom in on is right before Christmas and then right after Christmas. This was the New Year's was a big deal. They gave us a ton of free stuff. Oh, actually, where was that? Actually, no. So actually, this is ByteDance. That was 18th, 19th of January. If we add in just to present, right? What is today, the 24th? I just wanted to show that, like, yes, things are better, but it's not like things are crazy. And then I kind of have my concluding thoughts. So these days were bad, but there you go. So 62. This is like Ingrid's summoning day, peak of everything. Everything's live. And it's like less than right after Christmas, New Year's time, right? So not so much less, but like it's not insignificant. And it's hitting only a peak that's been hit once the entire year since then, and the ByteDance stuff. So I think the game is settled at a lower place, and I think it's very valid to feel like it's discouraging to see the game not continue to grow. But basically where I'm at is this showed me they were willing to put some money. They reached out to your company and stuff. They clearly prepared a bunch of ads. They have some funny ads on their channel. People have been seeing them run a lot more.
Yeah, I saw some of the raid, the taking shots at raid stuff. I saw the J Gigs collab you did.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But so things like that, they're trying. So I guess where I settled is, do I think the game can get much bigger? I really don't know. I guess I'd think probably not. But do I think the game could die? I think in a low period, they were willing to push money in. I think that shows a position that they're invested more long-term. I think that the actual core product is still very good, though I think there's things that could always get better. So I think, yeah, like this video is not even going to be called, can they make it to a 3rd anniversary? Because I think absolutely they will at this point. The question is, will they be on an upward or downward trajectory? That I really wouldn't want to say, but I'd say I'm encouraged that they believe in the game enough to not let it die. Am I encouraged enough that they believe in the game enough to try to make it bigger? That I honestly don't think I am.
Yeah, it's very tough to say in terms of the size. The good thing is they seem to be, I mean, who really knows, but they seem to be pretty profitable with the game. Thus, that means more marketing dollars and more development, more updates, better for the community, better for the player base. And it's not that hard with a I shouldn't even say a small audience, but with like a modest audience, it's not or player base rather, it's not very hard to make money in these games. Newsflash, like they're
for sure.
They're monetized very, very well, So I do think that given all those factors, and that they've been found a way, to kind of reconcile the bite dance situation. I feel like you put that all together and things seem to be going really well, which is cool to see, because it's Watcher of Realms having other games in this space that aren't like JRPG style is really, really cool to see, because it's like almost a different community. And like obviously the gacha and the hero collectors do very well, like from the Genshin and Hoyo like realm. So it's really good to see, like we see so many games fade and die, so many, I'm not even going to name them, but like, I guess most recently King Arthur, Legends Rise, like there's so many of them. To see a game survive 2 years and still showing indicators of potentially thriving is encouraging, to say the least, as an outsider.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I think at this point, at the minimum, they're surviving, and they're probably doing a touch of thriving. I just think the one thing you always have to be wary of is people are like, oh, my guildmates are leaving the game. It's like, yeah, they kind of should be. You're not supposed to play these games for years for the average person. To us, it feels like, of course you do, because this is life. You just play a game for years, right? And to a lot of the people watching this video. But the way it's supposed to work is like, there's like people leave after 1 month or 3 months or 6 months or whatever, and then there's attrition through tons of marketing. So I think they've shown a willingness to do it when it's needed. So I think the game is in a fine spot. That's where I'd leave it.
Cool, man. Cool. I'm glad to hear it. Honestly, it's genuinely great to see that they surprised some folks who were kind of glass half empty, or met the expectations of the people who were glass half full, kind of coming into the 2-year anniversary. So it's cool.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunate that you're no longer with this game, at least for now, Ash, but I do appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Do they still have me on the banner? That's the big question. Am I still in the game anywhere, or have they removed me?
They might, but I know they're about to change it. But they might keep you on it, to be fair. Actually, we got to just quickly check this.
I don't know.
Where's the thing?
I don't know.
You know what? They probably might have taken it down for a second, because I know they asked me if I needed a new picture. So
got you. Long overdue. If they should have removed me a long time ago. I'm sure there's billions of creators better to replace me with. So I think Hades is on there too.
He's been out for a while, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for having me, dude. Always love catching up.
I'm gonna, not that it's needed, but I'll link all your channels underneath, because I'm sure everyone already knows you. But everyone, if you somehow don't know Ash, you can tell this is a great guy. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely let us know your thoughts in the comments. Are we way on base, off base, this, that, and the other? We'd love to hear it. Subscribe to the channel, share with your mother, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.